How do you know what your true limit is during a stretch? When have you gone too far? When could you actually go deeper? In this class, Anamarget Sanchez guides you through a relaxing, prop-friendly yin practice that helps you play with your physical and mental boundaries. You can practice live with expert teachers like Anamarget every day on Yoga International. Find a YouTube exclusive offer in the description below.
So today's theme is tonight for some of you is playing your edges. And the first principle, though, I would like to just discuss before we get to any edge is the practice of Ahimsa. So non-harming, non-violence, and that means in our action, in our speech, in our thoughts. So even though we're going to play with the edge, we don't want to hurt ourselves at the edge, right? So what's going to happen is instead of going like full force into a pose, we're going to just kind of go through stages or notice the stages that the pose offers us, right? So we don't want to go to our deepest right away. We want to kind of take a journey there. And I found sometimes when things are uncomfortable, even our idea of the pose hasn't even happened yet. We might just hear the name of it. We kind of naturally retract or get a little bit nervous, like, what is this going to look like? So kind of stay present without expectations, and let's see what we can discover. There's maybe a pose that you were not happy with. Maybe it's because there wasn't any kind of room to move or to discover anything. It's just like, oh, this is uncomfortable, and that's our attitude always. But perhaps with the use of props, sometimes that makes things much more much softer. And we might see that as we hang there for a few minutes, that edge moves a little bit further. So that's when we start to deepen our pose, deepen the experience of the pose, and get past our initial limits. Because not all the time is the limit in the body. Sometimes it's just in our mind or our attitude toward it. So even the things that are a little bit uncomfortable, can we just kind of hang with it? But that being said, please remember, Ahimsa is the first rule. So if it is painful, if it causes you too much tension or anxiety, just pull back. That's okay. And this is the way that we start to cultivate discernment, right? What is right for me? Is it right for me to stay where I am, to pull back a little bit, or perhaps to be curious and go a little bit further? Okay, so that will be our challenge today, is kind of walking these fine lines. And I hope you'll enjoy the journey, and I will take you through this safely and with a lot of love. So let's get ready, okay? This is the last one I'll say hi to, because after I take my glasses off, I can't see. So welcome, Carol, all the way from Princeton, New Jersey. Come on in. All right, so let's get our yoga party started. First, I'd just like us to collect ourselves a little bit right here in a seated pose. And you can sit in any way that feels comfortable for you. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sitting up on a couple of blankets. And just take a moment to collect our breath and to collect our mind. And we don't have to force or shape the breath in any way, right? All we're really doing is watching how the breath moves in the body. So let's just take 3 more breaths here. And as you do, perhaps think about how yoga can serve you today. Right? I know we're playing with our edges and what that means to you. We have a physical edge, we have a mental edge, emotional edge. Where are you playing today? And in your own words, just create an intention. Then we'll take a deep inhale and a full exhale. And as you do that, just allow your chin to drop to your chest for a moment. And with your chin down, gently move your head side to side. And we'll come back. Let's move our shoulders around a few times. And let's go in both directions so we can go back and forward. And then we'll just take the whole spine in a little circle because it's nice to see what's going on in your back, in your hips. Go one way and then go the other way. And then just do a couple seated cat and cow, so moving the shoulders back. So it's kind of this natural opening in the front of the body. And as you exhale, do the opposite to stretch the back of your body. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling and exhaling. 1 more, inhale and exhale. And then come to neutral and lie down on your back. So we're going to lie down in something called Pentacle Pose. I'm just going to turn off my AC for a minute, sorry. I live in Miami and, you know, freezer indoors and humidity rainforest outdoors. Okay, so in Pentacle Pose, the legs are wider than the hips, and then the arms are wider than your shoulders. So if that bothers your shoulders though, then bring the arms in, but if not, they're above the shoulders. And we're just kind of releasing our weight and our body down. Right? It's kind of our first introduction to this feeling of surrender, which is part of our lesson in yin yoga. Right? Can we let go? And this is also kind of a nice way to connect with our breath because there's no engagement in the core or in our back. We can really just allow the diaphragm to move freely. And as the diaphragm moves down, the lungs fill with air. So there's a little tension there as the diaphragm is pulled down. When it relaxes and goes up, the air is pushed out. And let's just do a few more of those, please. And we'll finish with 3 more breaths like this. And when you're finished with 3, go ahead and bring your legs together. So the legs are a little bit active, and now your arms lower by your side. And you might want to lift your shoulders a little bit and roll them back. And on an inhale, take your arms back and point your toes. Oops. Exhale and relax everything. We'll bring the arms down. Inhale, take your arms back. Point your feet. We're just kind of stretching the front of the ankles. Exhale, lower the arms and flex your feet. Okay, we're going to do that 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Now please bring your right knee into your chest. So if you have any stuff going on with your knee, I know some of us have had knee surgery or issues, hold on behind your thigh instead. But if your knee is healthy and happy, you can hold on to your shin. And then let the competition be today within yourself, because we always kind of self-compete, of how open and soft you can be today, right? How free can you be? And just let the poses find you. And I say that because usually we grab our leg, we pull it down, you know, we're stretching out with the opposite leg. I know some of you have probably done that or are doing it right now. So can you relax the left leg completely? And every time you exhale, that's just a natural invitation for the right leg to come in closer. And so we're just really working with our breath. Relax your jaw, your shoulders. 1 more breath on this side. And we'll release. Let's grab the opposite knee. See, even my vocabulary, right? I said grab. That sounds like hard and aggressive, right? Draw in your left knee. Keep your shoulders soft. Let your breath do the work. Last couple breaths here. Inhale and exhale, relax your left leg. Okay. So let's go ahead and place both feet on the mat, please. And go ahead and grab either the ankle or the edge of your right foot. So this is kind of half happy baby pose. Now, you can keep your left foot where it is, or if you'd like, straighten out the leg. And again, where's the edge? Maybe we start with the knee really high, right? And we stay here for a few breaths and then possibly slowly, after a few breaths, the knee comes down a little bit more. We hang, we wait. Maybe we get a little impatient, right? But we notice without reacting. Now maybe we come down a little bit more. Three more breaths here, please. Inhale, exhale, and release. Now we're going to place both feet on the mat, but the feet are wide and the knees are touching. And then just place your hands on your belly. Relax your back. I will separate the knees. Grab hold of the left ankle or left foot, please. If you want to keep your right foot on the mat, you're welcome to do that, or we straighten the right leg. And again, we don't want to go to the deepest part of the pose right at the beginning because we lose all the wonderful steps and sometimes even little messages or in insight that we might receive in our practice. Are you in a place that's uncomfortable right now? If it's not hurting you in any way, can you rest in the discomfort? Can you be okay with it? And let's find out in the next 3 breaths. And then inhale, exhale. This time bring both knees into your chest. Let's symmetrically draw the knees in, stretching our back and our glutes. And then with our hands and our kneecaps, take your legs in a circle. We go one way, we go another way. Then let's go ahead, stretch the legs out, but move them over to the left. You can cross your right leg over. And then I'll encourage you to also walk your shoulders to the left. And then we'll bring our right arm overhead and let your left hand rest on your belly. And what can we find along this right side? Can we turn off our mind and that inner chatter and just listen? Can we just be in this experience? Inhale. Exhale, lower your hand. Let's come back to center. We're going to walk our feet to the right. Take our shoulders to the right. If you'd like, cross your left ankle over. Right hand on your belly. Let's hang out here for a few breaths and just experience the left side of your body. Then can we dial down the mental chatter and be present to listening, be present to receiving. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Let's take one full breath in the middle. And then I'll ask you to shift your hips, maybe with your feet on the ground. It might be a little bit easier. Shift your hips to the right a little bit. Stretch out that left leg again. And this time, bring the right arm overhead. Now, there's a couple things we can do with the right arm. We can extend it just straight out from the shoulder. Or we might be able to bring it overhead and just kind of feed the energy into the lungs and heart a little bit more. And again, let's think outside of the box when we're talking about our edge. Our edge might be the mental capacity to rest in silence, to be comfortable in the silence, to be okay with the discomfort. So there's all these ways that we can play with the meaning of edge, playing with the edge. Release any tension from your jaw, from your shoulders, even the way your hand might be resting on your leg. Maybe just let the elbow relax on the mat. Inhale. Exhale, let's come back. Ready? Let's go to the other side. So let's shift your hips to the left a little bit. Straighten that right leg. Keep it relaxed. And bring your left leg over. And then either the left arm straight out to the side or overhead. Settle into the posture. Breathe into where you might be feeling that there's less energy moving through, perhaps more gripping. Inhale. Exhale, we'll release. Come back to the middle and bring your knees into your chest. So let's go ahead and roll to our side. We'll flip over and come up on your hands and knees, please. So here, if you want a blanket, I know Susan had asked before if we might need a prop. So this is like where props might come in handy, or a towel for your knee. Please feel free to use something. All right, and once you're here, we'll just come up on the hands. And then I'll ask you to bring your right knee forward. Don't move your foot to the left though. I know we usually think of this as pigeon pose, but this is gonna be a little bit different. Just kind of a variation of pigeon. Okay, so we're going to stretch the left leg back. That we do. If for any, if this doesn't work for some of you, right, because of a knee, you could roll on your back and bring your knee into your chest like we did before. So that's an option. For those of you who are with me here, let's come up on our fingertips. So you might feel this in your back. So this definitely is, I hope to be a gentle back bend. And we can have the hands forward for less, and we can bring the hands back for more. And if you needed blocks in your hands, you could also use that. So just know we are going to be here for a few more breaths. And though the back of our body is less obvious, this gives us an opportunity because it really kind of talks to us like, here I am. I can feel, right? I can feel the contraction of the back body. Usually we over round the back, but here we're contracting the back. Now we're getting some nice space, right? If the back leg is left, for the hip flexor and even the psoas muscle here. So let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths. When you've completed those 3, walk your hands forward. And we can come down on our elbows. So again, just in stages, how does that feel? And you're letting your right side rest on top of the thighs. So feel your right side supported. Maybe the next stage is to lower your head. A few more breaths here. Settle into the quietude of the mind. And then we'll go ahead, walk your hands back. And if you'd like, you could just maybe do cat and cow, or if you'd like, meet me in downward facing dog for a moment. It's kind of nice to open up the back of the knee. So feel free to take a downward dog. Pedal the legs if you feel the need to. And then let's come back. Bring the left knee forward. Stretch the right leg back. Come up on your fingertips. We'll get the back bend action here. And at first you might be a little higher, right? There's space. And as we relax, maybe the right leg goes further back, our sit bone lands. Last couple breaths, I promise. And then let's go ahead and make it down. It might be hands, elbows, or head. And again, resting into your personal silence. Yin yoga, one of my teachers used to say that practice is a way of dating ourselves, right? And so think of yin yoga as your Monday date, right, with yourself. Last few breaths. Then go ahead and walk the hands back. And like we did before, feel free to either take cat-cow or downward facing dog. If you did spread a blanket on your mat, you can probably move it off the mat for now. And then we'll go ahead and lower to the knees. And lower onto your belly. Please meet me up on the elbows for a sphinx pose. Now there's a couple things we can do with the legs here. One would be to keep them really relaxed, and they're slightly wider than your hips. But if anyone has a tender lower back and you need some support, then you can engage the glutes. Okay, so the pose isn't totally soft, there is some engagement. So choose what is right for you today. And we'll hang out here for a few minutes. So you don't want the elbows too far back because then it just kind of collapses the chest and the shoulders. So the elbows are forward a little bit. And once in a while, I do use a prop here. So for those of you that have a harder time for back bends, it's right at the top of the ribs. And then the elbows on the other side. And it feels really nice to kind of be able to land somewhere and relax and still get the benefit. So feel free to customize and play with your, playing your practice. Now go ahead and bend one knee. How does that change the pose for you and the information of where you're feeling energy, stretch, opening, whatever is going on? Lower that leg and bend the opposite leg, please. And do the same thing, be curious. I can feel how my left side was definitely was carrying more tension than my right side is. And then lower the leg. And now if you're okay with it, try both. If this doesn't feel good, then just either do one at a time or just keep them both straight, that's fine. And let's take a few breaths here. How are your shoulders doing? Can you connect with the rhythm of the rib cage and its movement? Inhale. Exhale, lower the feet. If you'd like, if you have the blanket, move it out of your way and let's just rest for a moment. And now we'll let the feet turn in, maybe even come a little bit closer. And let's meet back on the elbows. Yep, just when you thought it was over. There's a little bit more to come, all right? So feel free to continue the way we did it, and we could keep the hands separate, or maybe if you want to try it with the palms together, that gives you, it always gives different feedback, right, when we change anything about a pose. Or if you wanted to go more toward that edge that we've been discussing, we could come into seal pose. So see, my arms are straight now, hands slightly turned out, and this increases the back bend for sure. And you can have your hands out really far. You can bring your hands closer. And again, it's okay to play the edge, but please do it with discernment and compassion. Ahimsa is first. And then keep your eyes open or closed, but try and bring your attention to the back of your body, exactly where you're feeling the back bend. Right? Where is the feedback the strongest? Last 3 breaths. Maybe for the last 3, walk your hands forward or back a little bit more. And when you're ready to, we'll all meet on our belly. Cross your hands. Either turn the feet in with the big toes touching again, or you could bend the knees and gently let the feet move from side to side. And then we'll relax the legs back down. Inhale and exhale. Bring your hands next to your chest. Let's go ahead and push up into tabletop. We'll do cat and cow a few times. And then we'll come to neutral and we'll practice child's pose. Okay? So you can try it with your knees apart. You can do it with your knees together. Or, this is probably the most luxurious way to do it, is with a prop. So obviously it does not have to be a bolster, right? It can be your cushions from your sofa, and we would come down. If you're not using any props, right? We have our elbows on the ground, or head on the ground. If you feel like your back needs a little bit more stretch and opening, having the knees together creates that kind of pillow effect if you don't have a bolster. So that might be helpful. And you could also put something between your heels and your sit bones if you're not quite there. So get as comfortable being uncomfortable as you can, and let's settle in. And what does this bring up? Where can you find your edge in child's pose? Remember, it might not be a physical edge. So be open to the answer. Last few breaths here. Please feel safe that I'm still here, even if there's long pauses and silence. But I really want to give you an opportunity to have your own experience in the practice without all my chatter. And then please take your time. Let's keep our chin rolled in. And we'll slowly come all the way up. All right. Are you with me? Let's come out. Let's uncross the legs for a moment. Maybe shake them out a little bit. And then I'll ask you to cross your right leg in front first. So a couple options here. For seated poses, if you'd like to sit on a prop, this makes it so much easier. So please feel free to do that. Second option is if you're a little bit more open today and prefer, instead of just crossing, you could stack, right? And it's called square pose in our practice. So whichever one you're doing, we're all going to twist to the right. And sometimes I find myself getting a little aggressive in my twists. I don't know where I expect to go, right? But I'm like exhaling really hard, twisting the spine. No, let's take the journey together. Let every exhale be the invitation to go further. But it gives us the pause to discern if that's right? Or do we just settle in to where we are? And inhale, release. We're back. Okay, now we're going to come forward. So if this is a little bit more challenging for you to do, you could use any kind of prop that you have. It could be the pillows, it can be blocks or books. But even if you can get your head all the way down at first, maybe kind of take a stroll to what it was like to be a beginner. And we start on our hands. Maybe the next stage are the elbows. Maybe the last stage is the head. But again, Ahimsa, discernment, compassion, right? That's the way that we want to practice. And then take your time. Let's roll on up, please. See, just when we think it's not going to end, it does. All right, side two, if you want to do a little leg shake first. And then either crossing the opposite leg in front or stacking it. Let's go for the twist first. And if you just use your exhales, like that will slow you down automatically, very easily. It's nothing we have to overthink. Our inhale brings us back. Excellent. And the exhale takes us forward. So again, don't go all the way or we're going to lose the steps. Just a few more breaths. And from here, let's go ahead, take your time, roll up. Please remember how many layers of the body that we're getting, right? From the skin outmost to the innermost part of our body. We'll shake out the legs. And then go ahead and lie down on your back again. And all roads here, there's only a few more steps to Shavasana. So if you like your Shavasana a certain way, like with blankets or bolsters or something on your knees, just have them handy. We're not going to use it right away, but just so you don't have to look for them or get up too much. Okay? All right. So it's called cat's tail. And we're going to shift the hips to the right again, just a little bit. And we're going to bend both knees and drop them over to the left. Now what's going to change here is we're going to bring the left leg back, like bring the left leg toward the right side of the mat a little bit. And some of you will probably be able to hold that foot with your hand. And then the right knee just goes across and our arm is just resting on the thigh. And you can have your head, I would turn my head if I were you, if I were in the room with you. I'm going to highly suggest to turn your head left, right, toward the knees. And holding the foot is optional, so if you can't reach it, that's okay to just relax it. But if you could, we're holding. And let's go ahead, come on back. Woo, that's a deep twist. Take a moment in the center. And then we shift the hips to the left, drop both knees over to the right. And now the right leg scoots back a little bit. And we're possibly holding it with a left hand, but it's not necessary. And as you can see, the right hand is just soft on that leg. Last few breaths. And then we'll go ahead, come back, recenter yourself on your mat, please. And we'll come into this symmetrical happy baby pose. So let's take a few breaths here. A few breaths with the soles of the feet together. And now a few with the knees in. If you want to rock a little bit, side to side. And then relax your legs back to the mat. Let's practice a few minutes of Shavasana. And even though the whole practice might have seemed at times like a long Shavasana, right? It's not exactly Shavasana. So Shavasana is total surrender of even our identity, right? Our gender, our name, our career, whatever it is, it's just the ability to be. So let's soak some of that up and allow the energy of the practice we just did to assimilate in the body. So please make yourself comfortable. If you want to use something under your head, something under your knees, I'd like to remind you that if I will be staying for a few minutes after practice, so if you have any questions or any comments, I would love to hear from you. But for right now, we can just really settle in. And even the settling in or the landing in Shavasana takes a few moments. So make any last adjustments you might need to make. Maybe it's moving your head, your shoulders, your legs. And relax your scalp. Relax your forehead. The space between your eyebrows. Allow your eyes to close from top to bottom. Relax your mouth. Your right shoulder. Right arm. Wrist. And hand. Relax your left shoulder. Left arm. Wrist. And hand. Relax your chest. Relax your belly. Right hip. Right leg. Ankle. And foot. Relax your left hip. Left leg. Ankle. And foot. Relax your whole body. Relax your whole body. And as you deepen this state of relaxation, your exhales very naturally become longer. pulling you in deeper and deeper. Giving you the permission to let go and be held, at least for the next few minutes. And just let the belly rise and fall. And just let your mind rest in that organic movement of expanding to receive and gently relaxing to let go. So the belly rises and falls, it receives and releases. One breath flows into the next breath. And anytime the mind starts to think about whatever it wants to think about, with love and patience, gently guide it back and just let it rest. Last few breaths in just the rise and fall of the belly. And then start to feel your fingers moving, your toes moving. But there's no feeling of rushing to go anywhere. It's just kind of this soft coming back into the world. When you're ready, you can bend your knees and roll to your side. And even there, just take a moment. And we can slowly push our way up to a seated posture. And once you're up, let's close our eyes for a moment. And just follow the breath in the nostrils, from the tip of the nostrils to the space between the eyebrows and back to the tip. And if you like the sound Om, if that resonates with you, perhaps you can repeat that silently a few times on your exhales. So now let your mind rest in sound. On your next inhale, turn your palms up and exhale the hands together. Let's take a moment to remember and practice gratitude. What are you grateful for today? Can you experience gratitude that has no words? Let that in. And bowing to the light of the heart. I'm grateful for all of you to share this practice with you. I wish you a wonderful day or evening, wherever you are. And I look forward to next week.
Want to practice live with Anamarget or one of our other expert teachers? Sign up for a membership on Yoga International, link in the description.